a rutting double act. Paul is in Ireland for Roaring Reds and Sneaky Sika.
It's got the oddest Irish accent, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a Brummy twang to it.
Whistleblower Mike Labuschagne used to be a ranger for the anti-hunting group IFAW until he realised what they're up to. Now he's out to stop them.
And this is a problem that organisations like IFAW wish away.
Wayne Martin is getting the cleaners in. Should you pull through your airgun regularly? Terry Doe from the Airgun Academy has the technical answer. Staying on airguns, James Head from Crackshot looks at air pistols. David has the news on the Fieldsports News Stump, and James brings you the latest YouTube hunting films in this week's Hunting YouTube. Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. There are plenty of reasons to find yourself on the Emerald Isle. The quality of its deer stalking is as good as an authentic pint of the black stuff.
Ireland, it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's all here, like the number of deer alone. It's an experience just to witness.
Ireland is now a world-class destination for Sika deer hunting, and there are outfitters offering combo packages with reds too, which is why we're here with Mr. Childerley. Paul has come at the invitation of his friend Mark Bellamy, who isn't Irish, and Mark's colleague Dave Wilson, who is.
It's the joys of Sika though, it's never easy.
And who runs Deer Stalking Ireland.
We're here again.
You've eloped. Last time we were in
Wiltshire.
And now we've just popped up in Ireland.
We certainly have. We're up in the north in Donegal.
Yeah.
Red deer is on the agenda today. We're on one of the leases, so we're in the middle of a national park up in Donegal. So obviously you've got the mountain range all around us. You've got the forestry blocks as well, so clear fell. As you can see, there's clear fell on this side. So a couple of the blocks will hold some of the stags, but this goes for a couple of miles that way. So you've got your good shoes on.
It's got the oddest Irish accent, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a Brummy twang to it.
Yeah. Do you like Guinness?
I do like Guinness.
That's right, that's a good start.
Yeah. So if you shoot one today,
Yeah.
there's a tradition up in Donegal.
Yeah.
So you have to have a pint of Guinness and a shot of whiskey.
That's not a punishment, that's like
No,
a privilege.
it's not a punishment, it's a tradition.
It's a traditional celebration tradition, yeah.
So you have to do that for every tine it's got. So if it's a 14 pointer, if it's a 14 pointer, we'll be carrying him out of there.
We shoot a spiker.
Yeah.
We shoot a spiker.
Yeah.
If everything goes to plan, it sounds like it could be a heavy night. Before we go too far, Paul wants to make sure that everyone realises there's a reason why he's not carrying the Sako S20.
Right, so basically people are going to say, what's this, Mr. Childerley's being lazy and not carrying his riders? Do two things. One, I got a bad shoulder and it is still really bad. So if we're doing some mountainous bog areas, it's going to knack my shoulder. But you just mentioned...
I have to carry the rifle for you because I'm guiding for you. That's a rule in Ireland.
Yeah, which I quite like in this rule.
But I'm not dragging it off for you. You shoot it, you drag it.
Perfect.
No, I'll help. Don't worry.
Brilliant. Mark and Paul scan the woodland while keeping an ear out for those roaring stags. Unfortunately, using your own call is not allowed in Ireland. Working our way along the track, there are plenty of deer to see. There are a lot of hinds and no stags suitable to take. Then we hear roaring, which means we can focus our efforts. We drop down a ride to investigate.
We've got the wind in our favour, so we'll walk down, cut him off, and hopefully... It sounds like there's two.
It's sounding and looking promising. There's a wallow at the bottom of the valley, and there is definitely someone of some stature holding court out of sight. We keep pressing on until we're faced with a decision. Paul has a shot from here, but we can't see if the animal is on the far side of the stream and therefore off Mark's ground. Paul and David head across no man's land to get as close as possible.
So we couldn't shoot. The stream is the boundary line, and the stag was rounding up the hinds and decided to push them over the boundary line into the national park. So it's a no-no, even if it's 5 foot in. Unfortunately, we can't do it.
So we did that amazing stalk.
Yeah, all that hard work, all the bog work, crawling on our hands and knees. That's hunting, I'm afraid. So.
Never mind, there is still a Guinness at the end of the rainbow, and tomorrow we're on Sika. Now, although we have a Sako S20 with us, this is Dave's rifle. Paul was going to travel with a Sako 90. Once again, we fell foul of red tape. Even with applications in weeks before travelling, Paul didn't get the green light in time.
I spy my eye something that isn't...
It is a Sako, but isn't my rifle. Yeah, so once again we had problems with bringing the rifle. It's our nemesis of travelling, I think, these days. You know, we did everything correct this time. I spoke to Dave and got all the correct paperwork in order, and it goes to a external portal, government run. So, and with like a backlog of people coming over hunting, it's caught up in there. You can see it in there. Hasn't come through. So anyway, we were going to bring the 300 Win mount in the new Peak, which is carbon stock. It's actually taken over from the Carbon Light. So yeah, shame we didn't. But maybe all the sort of advertising, all the promotion we've done, Dave has bought a 6.5 PRC in the old S20, which used to using. I brought my scope over, clipped it straight on, cut the shots, zeroed it in. Happy days.
On with the hunt. Stalking Sika is different from stalking reds, even in the rut. It's probably closer to doing fox control with the levels of stealth required. Dave has been shooting Sika all his life and finds them super exciting.
I spend more time without a rifle studying them and trying to do my homework and trying to learn and understand them, but they're so unpredictable. That's why so many people like to come. That's why so many people want to hunt them. It's the challenge, it's the excitement. They're so aggressive, they're so vocal. Even here in the background, like there's one calling away down the bottom. So they're a special animal to hunt.
There are definitely stags here. Mark and Dave had been whetting Paul's appetite with some of the trail cam footage from this very woodland. But there's nothing tonight. The following morning, it's an early start and we head to a different area. The plan is to intercept the Sika as they head back into cover from their nighttime feeding lower in the valley. The temperature has dropped, so we're hoping it'll get the rut going. With better light, we go for broke and take the party to them.
have a look.
As mentioned earlier, Paul is using Dave's S20. So what round does he favour for the bigger, stronger deer?
My father has 3 Saccos, different models. I have 2 Saccos. I have a Sacco 75 armoured heavy barrel as well that I've had for the last number of years. I went for something a little bit different than the PRC. Slightly heavier around, obviously doing reds and stuff like that, just having that extra little bit of punch. That was the main reason for it. But again, the recoil and stuff in the PRC is very similar to the 6.5 by 55. It's a dream to shoot.
But enough welly to deal with the Sika because they're notorious for being hardy.
Absolutely, you can see, you'll see on the video. The one even this morning, like perfect shot, had no heart and lungs left inside, and still managed to make over 100 yards across rough, boggy ground. They're just indestructible. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter the calibre that you're shooting them with. It's just the animal. They're so hyped up and pumped up the whole time, especially now with the rut. It's just mainly adrenaline and power. They're just a strong, powerful animal. He's only young, I would say maybe 3 at most. Obviously, there's a big frog.
Trophy frog.
Yeah, there you go. Where's he going?
There he is.
Yeah, he's only young. He's, for around here, you get, I don't know if you've seen the head that was there, but around here, there's a lot of big mature stags that keep the likes of these pushed out over here. Just before you took the shot, there was actually a big guy just moving across the bottom of the bog over to the females on the other side, but obviously with the squeak.
Yeah, take our chances.
Yeah, kind of put us under a little bit of pressure.
And when they fight, they kill each other sometimes?
Yeah, we actually only had a landowner last week sent me a picture of a stag. His house is nowhere near the road, and a stag that had been killed and left just in the middle of he has a walkway up through his forestry. They do a lot of damage, very aggressive. Just quiet this morning for some reason, which is strange because it was 5 degrees when we got out of the car.
Yeah.
So I was expecting them to be a little bit louder. Yeah. And then obviously stags together still, as you can see there. So just hasn't fully kicked in just yet.
Okay.
Once Dave has grallocked the stag, it's a decent drag to the car to get everyone warmed up. It was so nearly a rut double. If you'd like to enjoy Irish hospitality with a hint of Brummie, check out Deer Stalking Ireland on Facebook or Instagram, and once you've used Dave's Sacco, you'll be after one yourself. So to see the full range, including the Sacco 90, head to sacco.global. Thank you, Paul, Mark and Dave. Please write in the comments below if you have experiences or advice for others taking a rifle for hunting in Ireland. And if you liked what Paul was wearing in that piece, don't forget there's a £500 Swazi voucher to be won on our fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk website. Right, what's in Field Sports Extra? A man you may recognise bringing the countryside to schools. Behind the scenes with Paul Childerley in Ireland. And an angry African.
If you are sitting in Washington, Berlin, or London, and you imagine that by some mystical power you can change what's going on in Africa from there, then you are a fool.
And you'll see more from that African later in the show. Our prize this week is one of 4 copies of Roger McPhail's book, An Artist by Nature, each priced £35. Become a Field Sports member and watch Field Sports Extra to find out how to enter our free competition to win it. Link below. Now, less paintbrush, more basil brush. It's David on the Field Sports Channel News Stump.
This is Field Sports Channel News. In 2004, it was Tony Blair who restricted it in England and Wales. Now it's John Blair wanting to do the same in Northern Ireland. A new private members' bill seeking to ban all hunting with dogs has gone out to public consultation. South Antrim Alliance Party politician John Blair plans to introduce it as a private members' bill. He published a consultation document which explains how he plans to ban hunting, trail hunting and terrier work. The Countryside Alliance is urging people to wait to consider their responses and say the survey is seriously flawed.
Again, sadly, John continues to misrepresent hunting in Northern Ireland and indeed the legislation in other parts of the United Kingdom. If Northern Ireland is to look into the hunting issue, then it should be conducted by the appropriate department to ensure that we do not make the same mistakes that has happened in other jurisdictions, and to ensure that it is fair and balanced and is based on science and evidence, not a narrow-minded, obsessed private members bill by John Blair or anybody else for that matter.
Meanwhile, Fieldsports had a near miss in the Westminster Parliament. Despite fears that backbench MPs would seek to ban trophy imports and trail hunting in England and Wales, none of them decided to go with that. Ruth Jones MP, who was campaigning against trophy imports, chose an anti-fur bill instead. There will be no comeback for shooting sports in the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. There were no shooting sports in the 2022 Games in Birmingham, which was widely seen as the organisers distancing Birmingham from its past as the world's gunmaker. This led to India, a regular shooting medal winner, threatening to pull out of the Games. And we promoted venues for Birmingham to reverse its decision and use, which these images show. The 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow held shooting competitions at the Barry Budden Shooting Centre. The International Shooting Sports Federation says it is disappointed by Glasgow's decision. Organisers withdrew more than a dozen sports from the programme after the original host venue of Victoria in Australia pulled out because of rising costs. Basque has taken the importance of wildlife conservation to 50,000 children in the past year. The Basque to School programme includes initiatives like Let's Learn More, where 2,600 children from 75 schools across the north of England were shown how moorland is managed and protected. Children attending are given workshops about countryside management and given the facts about the value of shooting to rural economies. There's a plan to expand the scheme further next year to include university students.
This next kind of 12 months we're going to be focused on primarily secondary schools, colleges and university age learners, because we've identified it and we all know they are the influential people, they are the vote signers, they are the poll signers, they are the social media users. So whilst it's fantastic and we will continue engaging with primary school kids because they're just sponges, they love a good day out, I think for the shooting community, the longevity of it, we have to start focusing on those older kind of adolescents.
The RSPB has released a video which it says shows gamekeepers shooting hen harriers. The video shows what looks like gamekeepers carrying out pest control on a moor. One of them sits near the camera. It's a windy day, yet their radio conversation is audible. In the audio, they discuss shooting what they call a jet, which the RSPB says, and Channel 4 News reports, means a hen harrier. The video shows no crime committed. It accompanies a push in the media by the RSPB to close down gamekeeping, which the organisation claims regularly persecutes birds of prey. The RSPB's own figures show raptor persecution convictions at an all-time low, and government figures show hen harrier numbers at an all-time high, thanks to gamekeepers. Fish Legal has launched a new clean-up campaign for 5,000 UK rivers and lakes. The angling organisation accuses the government of failing to make progress on pre-election promises to address pollution levels on Britain's waterways. It demands a new plan to give binding clean-up targets for each of England's 4,929 waterways. You can find out more by clicking the link below or searching for hashtag #EveryRiverCounts on social media.
We were hopeful with the new government coming into power that there might be a change of tack and that they wouldn't continue to defend previous inaction of the last government, the Environment Agency. But unfortunately, it looks like they are going to go ahead and defend the case. So the Every River Counts campaign is really about just that, the fact that all anglers should be getting behind this case. They need to understand that if we don't crack this and we don't defend this action that we've got against the current government and the Environment Agency, there will be no improvement in the plans, which need to come up with specific actions for every single river if they're going to improve by the deadline, which is 2027.
Hunters in Arkansas caught and killed 181 alligators in this year's harvest. The season takes place over 2 weekends. Last year there were 202 killed, and although this year's total was smaller, Arkansas Game and Fish Commission say it's been a huge success. Cody Gawley and his uncle Jason Mitchell took the biggest, which measured 12 feet 6 inches. You can see a film following some of the hunters from this year's harvest by clicking the link below. Now, if you love shooting and hate the way the greys are wiping out the reds, we might have the perfect job for you. The Scottish Wildlife Trust is hoping to appoint a new eradication lead to help save Scotland's dwindling population of reds. The invasive greys carry a virus which, if contracted by our native British reds, kills them. Their advert says the successful candidate must be a strong leader. They must also have a robust understanding of scientific methods relating to conservation projects. Most of all, though, they must be committed to the complete eradication of grey squirrels from Aberdeen. For that, the lucky candidate will be paid around £29,000 a year. And finally, with Halloween coming up, one viewer has shot a horror rabbit. Thanks to Andy Hinchcliffe, who was out doing pest control on a golf course local to him, also in Aberdeenshire. He says, "I shot a were-rabbit. With that kind of superpower, maybe you should go for the squirrel job, Andy." You are now up to date with Field Sports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. And David makes his usual request, please, that you like this video and subscribe to Fieldsports Channel. Now, our latest raffle on our dedicated website, fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk, is underway. There are 4 prizes available. One is a specialist bipod. Here's Norn Hunt brand ambassador, Phil Taylor.
This month's Fieldsports Channel competition is for one of the fantastic Norn Hunt bipods. These are made by hunters for hunters. They're made from aircraft grade aluminium and carbon, weighing just 250 grams. You can deploy them at 90 degrees or 45 degrees, and they're attached by a pinch Picatinny attachment. The bipod alone is £199, but the package that we're offering you is £259. Head over to fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk and support the Fieldsports channel for all the work they do representing the way that we live and the sport that we enjoy. Good luck, everybody.
You can find all of those on fieldsportscompetitions.co.uk. Now, an apology for last week. I said that Akingleshoot is in Yorkshire. It's in Scotland, which prompted the cruel gang who work on Fieldsports Channel to make jokes about my knowledge of the north of England and the north of that. So apologies to everyone from the north of England or from Scotland who felt insulted. Next, let's go to safe ground, Africa. Some anti-hunting organisations there believe that animals are more important than people. This is the story about Kasungu National Park, as told by Mike Labuschagne, who has been working there as a ranger for more than 30 years. He got funding from the US-based animal rights organisation IFAW, the International Fund for Animal Welfare, to help the elephants of Kasungu. He picks up the story.
My task in Kasungu started due to an investigation by the British High Commission and the German Embassy in Lilongwe, the capital of Malawi. So your 2 diplomatic missions there, the British and the German, did an investigation and found that due to government corruption, Kasungu National Park was a disaster zone, and its elephant population had been reduced from over 1,000 to only 45.
But what was the reaction to the report? What happened next at Kasungu?
The Minister of Tourism asked me to go to Kasungu and sort out this problem. If you are capable and honest, it's impossible to fail. It can't be done. The first thing you've got to do is to get into the landscape. This modern idea that a conservationist is some urbanite sitting in London, Washington, Berlin, a desk-bound urbanite, it's ridiculous. So as soon as he asked me in July 2015, I set up an informant network that operates to this day. If you are sitting in Washington, Berlin, or London, and you imagine that by some mystical power you can change what's going on in Africa from there, then you are a fool and you need to be removed from the picture, just like at a lower level, the corrupt ranger must be put in jail or at least chased away.
Who was funding you and your operation between the reports effects taking place and present day?
I did a budget, and I believed that to start the transformation process for the first 6 to 8 months, I needed $40,000. So 2 groups were interested, one of them being IFAW. Now, I had a long relationship with IFAW. I got grants from them on previous projects, and it worked well. They gave me a grant. I did what I set out to do. I gave them a report, and they were happy. So then I asked for $40,000. I got $40,000.
At the time, what was your understanding? What was IFAW's bigger aim with Kasungu? Had they begun their room to roam policy, for example?
No, not at all. IFAW, whatever they may be, they are not a conservation organization. What they are a fund, and it's in their name. And their expertise is raising funds. Now, what you immediately find when dealing with first world people, where the money is they want to hear your story and give you money and hear a good story back. They cannot deal with the complexities. So IFAW quickly learns that what you got to do is you got to spin a story to get the money, spin another story to tell the people how successful it is, and the money keeps rolling in.
What happened at Kasungu? What specifically went wrong in recent years?
The huge milestone is the dumping of 263 elephants into a park that was completely unprepared to receive them.
You said that Kasungu had several hundred elephants, and that number went down to 25. So what would be 45. The problem? What would be the problem in putting 263 back in there?
The problem, and this is a problem that organizations like IFAW wish away. The problem is the 9 billion people on the planet. So your room to roam, you've got to now roam over people. Well, that's a conflict. The area around Kasungu National Park, when I came there in 1992, the population density would have been 1/4 of what it is now. So you've got just this avalanche of people coming and settling around Kasungu.
According to IFAW, the government of Malawi chose to relocate elephants from one park, Liwonde, that was at capacity, to another park, Kasungu, that had space, which IFAW paid for. Mike says that Kasungu didn't and doesn't have space.
So now you take 263 elephants from elephant heaven. But it is madness. It is absolute madness. If somebody came to you, a neighbor, a niece, and said to you, I've got 263 cats and I really need to get rid of them. Will you help me dump them somewhere? You'll tell them 263 cats. No, you can't do that.
Can you explain some of the human-wildlife conflicts you get between the elephants and the locals in Kasungu since these animals arrived?
As soon as the elephants are dumped, my old informant network are sending me terrible videos and pictures of this chaos. So from the time they dumped those elephants to now, you can trace at least 13 deaths to that criminal dumping of 263 elephants. 13 deaths, over 50 orphans, 11,500 poor people having their lives fundamentally altered for the worse.
Thanks, Mike. And IFAW did not want to come onto the programme to answer Mike's charges against them. Instead, they pointed us to a press release on their website about the Kasungu elephant relocation, and there's a link to the press release below. The longer version of that interview with Mike is available as a podcast, link to that below too. One more thing to say, it's because of support from our membership that we are able to make films about the Antis and what they're up to. Thanks to all of you. From South Africa to air guns, and Wayne Martin wants tips for cleaning his.
Here we are again, it's Terry Doe's Airgun Academy, and once again I'm with Wayne Martin. Now, this is all about getting the top 2, 3, 4% out of your shooting. So, Wayne, you've had a little while to think about what we learned in the first couple.
Yep.
What's your next question?
Cleaning the gun. Should you do it? When should you do it?
By cleaning the gun?
Cleaning as in cleaning the barrel out.
The bore.
So, yeah, so with shotgun shooting, obviously you clean your gun after it's used. You should do, you know, run a bronze through it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Leave it, you know, lubed so no rust creeps in. Obviously with the air rifle, we've got rifling. So that can get leaded up. Should you, I mean, historically I haven't really done it, but should you clean the gun regularly through the rifling to try and clear that out?
Well, congratulations, because you've just hit possibly the most technically complicated subject in all of air gunning. And few people understand it all. It is massively complicated, but luckily there's a practical get out for all of it, which I know you're a practical guy, but you also like to understand the principles of it all.
Yeah, for sure.
So here we go. This rifle, it's a Webley Eagle, lovely bit of kit, marvellous. The barrel on that could like a completely different treatment to the barrel on an identical model that was made a couple of 3 months later. The pellet is not made of lead. It's made of lead alloy with a tiny bit of antimony in it. The antimony is a hardener. If the mix in the pellet slightly changes, then the way it interacts with the slightly changed bore can change. So the way to cut through all this is to test. The system you run that's worked for me all the years I've been shooting is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
So if it's shooting straight, we shouldn't clean it?
Exactly that. If it's shooting straight, leave it as it is, but check that it is shooting straight. Don't find out in the field. Find out on a piece of paper.
So this is going back to our regular sort of...
Regular testing, at least once a month. So we're going to test it. We've got last month's perfect card with a 1/2 inch group on it. This month, under the same conditions, we've moved out to 1 inch. Something's wrong. What do? We clean the bore.
That's your first port of call.
That's what I would do. I would clean the bore. But you mentioned phosphor bronze brushes.
Yeah, for bronzing through a shotgun, yeah.
No, I wouldn't do that at all. I would use, I use a Napier pull-through kit with a piece of wadding with some bore cleaner on it. Pull it through 3 or 4 times until the wadding comes out cleanly and leave it at that. Retest, 9 times out of 10, it will be back on track. Also, if you know the amount of pellets you've shot from one testing session to another, so if it's perfect and then 500 shots later it's drifted, you can clean it 400 shots later because it's going to go off.
Make a preemptive shot.
Yeah, you can keep it maintained. So, you know, this practice on paper targets is essential. But the amount of variables people wouldn't believe. The changes in the rifling, the way it reacts to the pellet. There can even be changes in the pellet as the mixtures change over time. Even change inside your tin, it does what they call crystallize, the actual alloy changes. So the only way to monitor it and to fix it is to shoot on paper.
Shoot on paper.
If you find a problem, fix it. If you don't. It's ever so simple. If you're using good quality pellets and you've prepared them so they're not leaving bits in your rifling, you should only have to do that, I would say, maybe every 6 months or so. But test it every month to make sure.
Well, here's one then. So
go on.
I don't clean my stuff very often, and historically not clean my air rifles.
Right.
But I took my gun around my dad's the other week, and we cleaned it out. First of all, we poured boiling hot water through the barrel.
What, of an air gun?
Of an air gun, yes or no?
I said
I'd leave it for you, didn't I?
I think I'm coming over a bit faint here. No.
No?
That is to get rid of powder residue and live ammo stuff. That, for a start, it won't boil out lead.
Would it loosen it up to then obviously for your pull through?
No. Use the pull through. Let the lube and the pull through, let the fibres of the pull through fill that rifling, and when it's coming through clean, then it's not smearing lead anymore. So that's your indicator.
Right.
Don't be pouring boiling water through it, and don't tell me if you do. I've come over quite giddy. No. That's inventive, though, I've got to say. So you poured it, what, from the muzzle end?
No, put the muzzle in a bucket to see if anything come out.
Right.
And then pour the hot water through the barrel.
Boy's thorough, I've got to say. He's very thorough. Raving mad, but he's very thorough. No, we'll go through. I'll send you a Napier pull through is what I'll do.
Lovely.
Just promise me you won't do that again. No, basically, if it's shooting straight, let it carry on.
Yeah.
If it's not, give it a clean. Also in the cleaning process, of course, you'll leave behind a nice film of oil so it won't go rusty.
And also as well, with the pellets that we've already oiled, each time we fire them, so keep the barrel nice and lubed up.
Yeah, and that will also stop any tiny little bits of lead from sticking.
Right.
All right.
Thanks, Terry and Wayne. Staying on air guns, James Head from Devon and online gun shop Crackshot looks at his best-selling air pistols.
1911's number one. You see 1911s everywhere. This is the boy, this is the gun. This is the gun for the plinker. Everyone wants to come in here, everyone wants a 1911. We even used to use them on the range. And they're just fun. It's a fun gun, and it's like real. And actually the blowback action is nice and realistic. It's nice and punchy as well. It's just epic. If I was shooting cans, that's my can killer. I'm in bomb territory now. I'm going for the CP99. Pellet is still nice and fierce, still looks nice and tactical. I still look mean in my garden. And those little toy soldiers, they're going to know a lesson after this. Going for the real cowboy gun. And this is actually the dual aces, so you can double the gun, double the cowboy. You know, you could really rattle some shots off at those poor little miniature cowboys. It is a 6-shot. This is a BB firer, but I think in the garden a BB's just as much fun. It's also a little bit cheaper on ammunition, so why wouldn't you use steel? Here's a cartridge. So unlike the real gun, this has a safety. But you just quarter cock on the pistol, on the hammer, open your flap, and you can use your little ejector to eject your cartridge. And you can pop your BB in the back of your cartridge, you can pop it back in, and you can feel the man doing it. Or you could just do the cheats way and just push your BBs in the back. That's my preferred option. It's quicker. And full cocking, bang. I'd use a Walper PPK. Put my suit on, I can roll around the garden. You don't have to be serious with pistols or any type of shooting, but this is the best way to get that fun side out and just enjoy it. And why not just have a few little shots in the garden? Definitely got to be safe. Don't let them go flying everywhere, especially the steel. They will ricochet. But, you know, as long as you're safe.
For more about the range of air pistols from Crackshot, go to crackshot.uk. Thanks, James. Next, from airguns to the wider world of hunting and shooting on YouTube, James Marchington brings you the best hunting videos on YouTube. It's Hunting YouTube.
This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the latest and best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Here's what I found for you this week. First, here's celebrity chef Thomas Straker learning the art of decoying pigeons with George Dickweed before whipping up some pigeon breasts on toast with liver parfait. This is episode 1 of a new series called Game Eater, and I'm excited to see what comes next. Here's pro rugby player Nick Yoward on the foreshore for a dawn flight after ducks and geese. He explains what it's all about for a non-shooting audience, and his love of the sport really shines through. Meanwhile, Wintercombe Gundogs offers a glimpse behind the scenes at a driven pheasant and partridge shoot from a picker-up's point of view, starring Labradors, River, Tweed and Willow, with a brief appearance from Sarah Miles, who's also picking up on the day. Next up, here's a fascinating history of hunting in Kentucky, starting with Stone Age man hunting mammoths and mastodons, through Native Americans using bows and early flintlocks, to the high-tech equipment and conservation initiatives of today. Over to South Africa with the Mesa Hunting Channel. They're on safari for a variety of plains game species, including sable, nyala, kudu and springbuck. Now, if you're going for something a bit more dangerous, shot placement can be a matter of life and death. Yours. Here, Northern Cape Professional Hunting School explains where to place your shot on a buffalo. In South Dakota in November, the big danger is frostbite and hypothermia. Eastman's Brian Barney is battling a winter storm as he bow hunts a mature buck mule deer in the rut. Finally this week, here's JT and Jason from MFK Game Calls, getting up close and personal with coyotes, calling them in to just a few yards to shoot with shotguns. That's it for this week, I've put all these films into a playlist for you. Click on the eye symbol top right or check this film's description. If you have a YouTube film you'd like us to pop into the weekly top 8, email me the link, jamesm@fieldsportschannel.tv.
Well, that's it for this week. If you haven't done so already, please whiz over to our website, fieldsportschannel.tv. You can click to like us there on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, pop your email address into our register page, and we'll contact you about this show. Field Sports Britain, it's at 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. And this has been Field Sports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.